Scream fans have been a little worried about the 7th installment's slightly unenthusiastic marketing campaign. Many folks are drawing similarities to Scream 4, a previous sequel that had a more subtle marketing campaign like this one and just barely failed to cross the profitability line. That movie sadly sent the franchise to TV for a little while, and it wasn't until 11 years later that the franchise would come back to the big screen with Scream 2022. As someone who thinks that this franchise can go on forever with a different person underneath the mask each time, I really just don't want to see that happen again. No shade to the Scream TV series, those first 2 seasons are pretty good. What little advertisements we have gotten for Scream 7, however, may pave the way for a really interesting franchise direction moving beyond just this film, so I'm especially hoping that this one hits at the box office. Let's talk a little bit about it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're excited for Scream 7 like me, then make sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates on the upcoming installment. Also, the best way to support the page is by becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter, where you'll get bonus review videos. Patreon supporters exclusively get to see trailer reactions that YouTube is currently cracking down on lately. Thank you to everyone who keeps me in business. Now let's get into the video. Before we get into this update, I first want to recap all of the Scream 7 marketing we've gotten so far. Like I said, it hasn't really been anything too crazy yet. A day before Halloween, we got to see the first trailer for the next Ghostface outing, which lit the fandom on fire, just like the Mocker House. The trailer had a mixed response, some citing it as too familiar or too campy, but I think with this movie clearly being a return to form, these are elements that didn't necessarily shock me. I'll be honest, I was definitely a little more high on Scream 6's initial teaser trailer that featured our characters getting cornered by Ghostface on the subway. That feels like something fresh and different that we haven't necessarily done before in the series. So I understand these criticisms. I think this movie is going to feel very familiar, like maybe something we've seen before. There are still some major highlights here, however, like the assumed opening scene. Burning down Stu and Amber's house after that ridiculous scene of Michelle Randolph falling onto Ghostface's knife was pretty gnarly. That to me feels right at home with this very campy and lately brutal franchise. I've accepted that this installment is likely not going to break as much new ground as the previous installment, but are they going to tell a good Sydney story? That's the big question I'm hoping to answer with this one. So far, it looks like they are. We see the famous final girl kicking Ghostface's ass with her daughter and also from afar over the phone. Again, the concept for this one doesn't necessarily intrigue me as much as something like Scream 6, which takes Ghostface and the core 4 to New York City. New characters, new setting, a lot of stuff that you can do there, a lot of new ground you could break. This just kind of feels like Scream 4 but a little different, and if that's what you're going for, Scream 4 but a little different, this trailer looks like you totally nailed that. I can't really judge a film on something it's not even really going for in the first place. Scream 4 is my favorite sequel, baby, so I can't complain too much. In the months that followed that trailer release right at the end of October, it's mostly been radio silence, outside of a few holiday teaser trailers that likely don't even feature any sort of footage from the upcoming movie. On Thanksgiving, Ghostface stabbed the shit out of a bloody turkey, likely giving a nod to his friend, John Carver, and now on Christmas, Ghostface has a little present for Sydney. He even wrote his favorite holiday horror movie on the back of the tag. Personally, I prefer the original Black Christmas, but Better Watch Out is a crazy hidden gem, man. If you guys haven't seen that one, you gotta check it out. There is a promise of more elaborate marketing on the way, as Ice Nine Kills, a metal band that loves horror, have announced a collaboration with Scream 7, meaning they have some sort of new song in the works, likely releasing before this new sequel drops in theaters. This is very similar to how they marketed Terrifier 3. Ice Nine Kills came out with the song A Work of Art, which the music video featured David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, chopping up Catherine Corcoran again, who is of course Dawn from the original Terrifier. With Christopher Nelson doing the effects for that little short music video, it's really impressive, man. Art the Clown gets to swing around a baby that's still connected to the umbilical cord. I mean, I can't complain. That's like one of the best kills he's ever gotten, and it's not even from one of the movies. 10 out of 10, no notes. If Ice Nine Kills can do something like that prior to Scream 7 with a crazy little Ghostface music video, I think that'll get a lot of people really excited for this one, and make Scream 7 an event horror film, which will certainly lead to its success. Terrifier 3 might not have pulled in as much money as something like Screams 5 and 6, but it is the highest grossing unrated horror film of all time. It had a minuscule budget as well and pulled in almost $90 million. I mean, that's crazy. Scream 7 has got to do the same thing. There is a really interesting connection between all of the marketing for Scream 7 so far, however. All three of these ads have been themed and released on or close to a holiday, including Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It makes me think that this upcoming installment could secretly be holiday-oriented, or at least setting up whatever's to come next. There have been a ton of clues that point to that even outside of these little teaser trailers, including Easter Bunny-themed Ghostface masks coming from Fun World and a new Santa Ghostface figure from NECA where the slasher is holding a bloody sharpened candy cane. And this is just a personal thing, but I have always wanted to see a Scream Christmas movie. I mean, that writes itself. Ghostface in a black robe against like white snow chasing somebody down in the middle of like a forest or some shit. I would kill to see that scene. That could be an all-timer chase scene for this franchise. I need it. Think Never Hike in the Snow, but with Ghostface. Now, it's already been pointed out by eagle-eyed Scream fans that this new film takes place sometime in November, as behind-the-scenes photos have shown posters up for an upcoming musical at the town's high school, happening towards the end of the month. Maybe Scream 7 is a secret Thanksgiving crossover film, which is also a Spyglass release. I told you Ghostface and John Carver were friends, man. Seriously, though, this might point to the company wanting to make more Scream films beyond Scream 7. I mean, we've already seen a Scream 8 production weekly listing, which might go into production as soon as Scream 7 comes out. That would be crazy. And maybe Scream 7 is just reintroducing us to the character of Sidney Prescott, where the next two movies get a little weird and holiday oriented. Picture this. What if Scream 7 reintroduces us to Sidney Prescott, who's living this quiet life in Pine Grove, Indiana with her new family, and that's of course disturbed by Ghostface in this upcoming flick. This could be followed by Scream 8 that maybe takes place around Christmas time, and then have a trilogy capper that maybe is a Valentine's Day flick. A big reason why I think this could work is because Scream is a super meta series. I mean, that's basically what it's built off of, is kind of commenting on other horror flicks. This gives it like a whole subsection of different horror movies from the past to rip on and riff off of. With a Scream Christmas movie, there's so much that you could hit on. I mean, not just things like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Jack Frost, but you could also talk about one of the many influences for the original Scream movie, 1974's Black Christmas. You can't tell me those The Moaner phone calls were an inspiration for Ghostface's signature move. And I think there's the obvious thing with Scream 7 taking place in November to have it be like a cliffhanger ending that moves directly into a Christmas-themed Scream movie that in the timeline happens maybe just a month later. I think it might be way cooler to like flash forward a whole year. Tatum's in college now, let's say, and instead of following Tatum to college, because we've done that in 2 movies now in the Scream series so far, what if she's coming back for winter break and Ghostface follows her home? We're still in Pine Grove, but the setting's a little different this time around because you have snow on the ground versus leaves. I think that flavors the setting a little differently based on a different season. So it's still kind of a college movie. We are following Tatum at a different part of her life, just like how we did with Sidney Prescott and pretty much every movie that kind of focuses on her. But it's following this character back home, maybe like relaying experiences she had at college, or like characters she met there that could possibly be Ghostface. I think there's a really weird movie you could do here that's also Christmas oriented. That would be fun. Scream 9 could really do any holiday, maybe even Easter, to correlate with those Easter Bunny Ghostface masks. But I think Valentine's Day is a better fit because there's already so many Valentine's Day slashers, including My Bloody Valentine and Valentine. That last one, interestingly enough, is sort of a Scream-inspired slasher from the early thousands. It would also be kind of funny to see Spyglass poke at their own Valentine's Day slasher, Hard Eyes. The big point with all of this, though, is to say that holiday horror is absolutely in, and Scream is a franchise that tries to hit on stuff like that. Big trends, but doing it in its own unique way. Many other horror franchises, or just new movies in general, have tried to tap into that market. Even The Creep Tapes has a Christmas special in its latest season. I mean, come on. If we don't get Ghostface in a Santa hat in one of these movies, what are we doing? I also think this would make for a really interesting chapter in Scream's history. I mean, we've kind of hit on every bit of meta commentary we really can when it comes to a franchise or sequels, trilogies, remakes, yada yada, requels in Scream 5. I mean, we've really done it all. I think at this point we have to get a little more niche. We have to start hitting on specific subsects of the horror genre, like holiday-themed horror. Christmas slashers are kind of a genre of their own, and they're kind of popular right now. I think there's a lot for the Scream franchise to not only comment on there, but to build organic stories from as well. The biggest thing I love about this, though, is that it's rewarding horror fans again, something I feel like this franchise is slowly getting away from. One of the biggest problems I feel with the new Scream movies is that they're trying to cater to everybody. That's why you have characters that represent all different types of demographics and age groups. As the saying goes, if you try to make everybody happy, you really make no one happy. I think it would be way cooler if they catered to the horror fans that fell in love with this franchise in the first place. This would be a great way of doing that and also reinventing the nostalgia angle that's already built into this series. How do you guys feel about Scream 7 setting up a new trilogy that may just get into some different kinds of holidays? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.